Don, what's going on?
What's up, Marcus? Happy Wednesday, sir. Another session is in effect here at
Yes,
Data Firm and Real.
it is. We gotta get these lives going back, going to regular. We kind of off schedule last couple of weeks, but we're gonna get it
Yeah,
back right. So
yeah.
forgive me, I'm a little off today, but I'm gonna do a lot of traveling. As you can see, I'm in a lovely hotel now, but we gotta bring it to you live in person.
There
Um,
you go.
so how you been doing, man?
Man, doing pretty good. Life is good. No complaints. Taking it one day at a time and trying to get through the rest of this year. Man,
I know this year, me and the lady was just, well, excuse me, me and the wife were just talking about it now. How quick this year's going by. Like it's on super fast speed, and like, when the
yeah.
holidays kick in, it's gonna be super fast.
Oh, man, when it hit October and they already putting Christmas decorations up, you
Man,
know the year's over. It's over. It's over. Ain't no coming back from that.
it ain't. So, welcome to
Yeah.
Data from the Real, aka Dar. I'm Marcus Goodwin, your host, and I got my co-host
I'm
Don
Junior Lily.
himself. You know, before we get into tonight's topic, we always got to do the disclaimer. So, Don, can you do me a favor? Hit them with that disclaimer for me, please, sir.
All right. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Date Affirm the Real. Any content provided by our guests or hosts is their opinion and not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, or individual.
Right on.
So, yeah.
Other words, we're here. We were sharing our truth. You know, take what you need. It's our opinions. We are not professionals. We're just sharing our life experience, our thoughts, and everything. Man, I got that retarded collar. I can't say that. I got that crazy collar, and
He gotta iron that shirt, man.
man, you ever try using these hotel irons?
Yeah, it burn your shirt through, man. You better not be no white shirt. It's a wrap.
I ain't gonna get into it. Last week my iron didn't hardly work, didn't get hot. This one don't keep the water in the steam. But anyway, so let's get into the topic.
All right, let's do it, sir.
Tonight's topic: does embracing a soft role affect your position as a man in a relationship?
Hmm.
Yeah,
This is a pretty interesting topic. Based off the title, that is masculinity versus vulnerability. Though, this is it's just putting us on the spot, man. We on deck now.
yeah, because think about it. To move forward, you gotta be a little bit uncomfortable, and being uncomfortable is no looking into yourself and seeing where it could be improved. You know,
Z, indeed.
you know, as being traditional man, when we hear things like triggers, we think of guns. But a lot of us men, we get triggered by certain words and certain things and certain aspects, like vulnerability and
Mm-hmm.
soft. You know, we grew up being soft as being weak, mushy. Matter of fact, I think I got a definition of soft on standby. Let me see what
Go ahead,
soft
sir.
is.
Hit that up. Hit that definition.
So,
Soft.
weak, having no strength, meaning being timid, scared, or afraid, and that's from the Almighty Urban Dictionary.
It's more like the Dallas Cowboys defense. Soft.
So
Anyway.
if you start no shit, we don't have nobody watching us.
Yeah, I hear you, right?
Yeah, you know, think about when we've been growing up. How many times you be like, man, you soft.
Yeah, it was not even thought about as a child growing up as to what the depth of that definition brings forward. Because when you're a child, you always want to prove that you're one of the guys, right? You want to hang out with the boys, and man, you soft, you can't roll with us. We out here
Yeah,
playing football with no pads. So things of that nature, or you may get easily hurt or injured, therefore they call it you soft and that nature. But it's more to it than just being tough on hanging out with the guys. It's more emotional that comes along with it as we get older and we go through the classification or explanation between the two sides of the coin, masculinity versus vulnerability,
Right.
starting with definition of soft, that is.
So now we have to transition ourselves from soft being what when you when you go to your dad crying for no damn reason into the aspect of soft being the vulnerable. Let's bring that up real quick.
Yeah, vulnerability. This is a little different.
Yeah, and this is the accept read that shit. That's that probably screwed
Susceptible
up.
to physical or emotional attack or harm.
All right, so when we think about that, the vulnerability side of us is where we trying to go as a society, maybe trying to go. This is opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And as society, as men, is vulnerability acceptable in your relationship? And what is soft and vulnerability the same thing, or are they close to the same thing, or is it just how it's interpreted? You know, because a lot of times you hear women they want to say they want their man to be vulnerable around them,
Mm-hmm.
and is that really what they want?
I
And
don't
that's
think that's what they actually want.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. This is where the women will have to come in. Do we want? Do they want a vulnerable man? And what does that look like to a woman? Are we interpreting as vulnerable what they interpret as vulnerable? Because they say men are from Venus and women are from Mars or whatever. So our languages might be different, and we have to kind of explore that.
Yeah. Uh, when I hear the term vulnerability, I do think about being in a situation where you can't defend yourself. You are uh, an impossible impeding doom. You jump out in front of a bus and now all of a sudden you freeze up and you can't move. That's being vulnerable. But I think in the terms of what you're describing, when our ladies, our wives, our women want us to be vulnerable, I believe there is a deeper meaning in pertaining to the emotional part. They want us to open up. They want us to explore our feelings. They want us to share things that we may have sealed off because we'll put something in a box and put it in the closet and let that thing rot to death. But they want us to dig that
Mm.
up out the grave. They want us to bring forth that information so that there's a connection there. And yes, we are going to look at this from two sides. Men are from Mars because we guys can sit around each other. We may have 5 words saying through a whole football game, but women more are more spokative, and therefore the connection is through words, while men can have a connection just sitting there and not even having to have a full conversation unless talk about some sports or something. That's another subject. But how do
Yeah,
you feel about that type of understanding pertaining to vulnerability?
yeah, and I hear what you're saying. And hey, hey, cuz I see your
Shamika
shout out
Arnold,
a Dar therapist.
she says she agreed that's the vulnerability that she wants. So my question to that would be, why is it called vulnerability? Maybe we need to try to peel that back because it's more of an emotional state than a vulnerable state where you feel less power or less control. Maybe that's more the meaning of vulnerability. You don't have control of the moment, therefore you are in a moment of of not in control of the feelings or emotion or how the conversation may go. You're just pouring out from your heart and letting the chips fall as they may.
All right, so this is what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
For me to be around my wife and I show her vulnerability, I am showing her the deepest part of me that only she can get into.
Yeah.
That to me is like if she has to trust me with decisions and her safety,
Mm-hmm.
when that should not reciprocate it by showing her the vulnerability instead of holding, because like you said, we both put things in the box as men, and let it rot till it die.
Yeah.
But the problem is when something rots and dies, it stinks. It has a stench.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of us addressing it and get rid of it properly with our person, this is what we have. This is where I have to learn that vulnerability is not soft in that urban dictionary way.
Gotcha. I got
You
you.
know, you know,
Yeah.
I'm a fluffy fella. I'm soft. I got soft skin. I exfoliate, but they ain't kind of soft we talking about. All right, so
Yeah. Yeah. I got you.
we got another comment up there.
Okay. It says December 69 Angel, great name. Yes, I would want a vulnerable mate that lets me know he has some level of trust in me and allows me to be his safe space to be able to talk and have no judgment. I
Mm,
think I agree. I think all men want that because one thing that may make us less subject to sharing our emotions or sharing our vulnerability is the fact that if we do that, will we be judged? Will we have that used against us uh, in a negative way? Because you think about just the aspect of life when we are fighting from mid kid age, teenagers becoming young adults, we have to fight. We have to scrape. We have to get in these jobs, and we have to make a way. And showing vulnerability is almost like you said at the beginning, Marcus. You're showing a weakness, and therefore that can be used against you. You can go talk to HR or somebody, and you spill your guts out. Then they turn around and fire you because of the fact that you sharing that. So sometimes that can cause. Not saying that's every man, but that scenario can cause a man to shut down and be more guarded of his feelings.
yeah, and I'm a big victim of guarding my feelings in my heart. I'm a big big person who have done that in the past and done that a lot, and I still do it to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say the person you love has the code to the nuclear bomb in your heart. They got the key, the button, and because the longer you with somebody, they know what button to push to make you explode.
Yeah,
And I like she said, the knowing that I trust you with that is like the ultimate sign of love and respect I'm gonna give you.
mm-hmm.
But as men, I take that back. As people, we have to choose who we give that power to. Choose wisely.
Indeed,
You can't.
indeed.
All right, so Shy came back. Cuz came back with something else. She says, "Well, vulnerability means to create a safe space for someone to be their whole self. Doesn't mean weakness. It just means that I'm a safe space and able to share, share of myself. Right on.
Agreed, agreed. Good
And
comment, Shamika. Appreciate that.
okay, hold on. But so now I don't want. But I think another thing I want to kind of we're going to jump into maybe later is, can you be vulnerable and masculine? Is it either or do they coexist in the same space?
That's
All right.
definitely a good topic.
So Kia says, "Baby, my wife. Hey, babe. Uh, I personally don't want a man that is always proving masculinity. I need a man that has emotional intelligence and vulnerability." Okay.
Yes.
Man, we got a lot,
Yeah,
going
they
on.
firing out, man. We didn't open up the can here now. It
Yeah.
just pouring
Okay.
out
But so,
constantly.
why I bring the comment up? So, what do you think of what is masculinity in your book?
Masculinity. You walk into a room, they know who you are. You present an aura that may show strength, it may show power if you're famous or someone of important stature. But even if you're just a regular individual, you walk into a room with confidence, charisma, you got that charm factor. That's all part of being part of the male's masculinity, I believe.
Okay, so I'm with you. I think I have a definition for that.
Hmm.
All right. So masculinity refers to the roles, behaviors, and attributes that are considered appropriate for boys and men in each society. So
Indeed.
society is judging or making us this masculine aspect,
Well, you're
or dictating what a masculine man should be.
there. You go. They are dictated because in a fishbowl, male and female, just back in the days of Adam and Eve, there's no one else around. You don't have to walk with a swagger, right? You don't have to say let your nuts drag. You are being within the comfort of your skin, like the Dove commercial, and then you are being vulnerable with your mate, and you're biting off the apple. You're sharing with each other the things that are within your reach. Society, as you just indicate, dictate, because if you walk into society and not being able to keep up with how society is changing and ever evolving, you will get left behind, and you may feel a sense of softness, quote unquote, proverbial softness. So you may have to, at that point, change your focus to become a little hardened on the outside to try to keep up so that you don't get left behind, because we're in a society of production and function and movement, and anything that stays stagnant or grass is growing, you may not be thought about it as we proceed forward. So you have to think about how you can keep up with today's rat race as well as maintain your masculinity on a vulnerable level, not just out there stepping on people's toes and thinking shit.
Right. So hold on. They firing off. Hold on, we got
Gotta
one.
get them Twitter fingers ready, Marcus.
She making his mouth moving. Kia says, and does a man have to say he's masculine, or does he embody that?
He doesn't have to say it, because again, if you got swagger, if you got charisma, if you got charm, you just walk in a room and it shows. If you have to call out that, hey, I'm here, then that's a little bit more of an ego issue, more of a self-centered issue, maybe more of a intimidation, that you feel like you have to do that. Natural masculinity, I believe, used in a good way, is something you don't have to project. It's going to show. If you were a director at a company, you walk into a board meeting, you're not being over egotistic. You're just showing that you are in charge of this particular session here. Therefore, all eyes on me. Let me guide you as I talk about these numbers or these charts, and hopefully entertain you with some good feedback.
Right. So I shouldn't have to tell you I'm a man when I walk in a room.
Exactly.
Um, I can be vulnerable and masculine. I remember one time I did a live session, and the topic was masculinity, or something like masculinity versus alpha male.
Mm-hmm.
Where the alpha male, he assumes his role, it kind of beats his chest almost. He assumes the control. I don't have to be an alpha male to be masculine. I personally think I can be masculine and vulnerable at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
My vulnerability is me opening it up. You know, now I may choose to be vulnerable. Who I choose and when I'm made to be vulnerable is something to consider. In the confines of my home, I should be allowed to open up. You know, do I need to um, contain my vulnerability in certain settings? Yes, because I think vulnerability can be a hindrance, and maybe like a certain, like I said, leadership role at work. I may not need to be soft. Okay, I'm using here go that soft stuff again. I don't mean not to be vulnerable like that,
Mm-hmm.
but I do need to be understanding and
Yeah,
empathetic.
there you go.
You know, so we have some more stuff. Hold on. Ooh.
Yeah, there's a follow up here. Shamiko says, but what's the definition of masculinity? There are so many faulty, flawed definitions of what masculinity even looks like.
Yes.
The definition, and then what it looks like. That's I think that's a two-parter.
Yeah. So we are kind of definition, but it's kind of how it's flawed. It's every definitions are interpretation as well,
Hmm.
and how we translate it. Not necessarily translate it. How we take up use it.
Yeah,
Like the N word, it's been used so many different ways.
yeah. You have in our notes here, you have masculinity as a definition, which refers to the role, behavior, and attributes that are considered appropriate for boys and men in each society. But then you also have a definition for masculine, which is saying having qualities that are traditionally associated with men, such as strength, courage, independence, leadership, and assertiveness.
Hmm.
So hopefully, Shamika, that is probably the Oxford or Merriam-Webster's definition of masculine or masculinity. But
That's
as
the
you
Google
asking,
definition.
yeah, the Google definition, as you're asking how that looks like, if a guy can lead by example and provide the guidance like such as a father can to his son or even to his daughters, be there to help friends in need. If they have a flat tire or are stuck on somewhere and need to be in a bind, you just need to get out of a jam. You can perceive that as masculinity without having to, Marcus say, beat your chest every time you do something or acknowledge that I'm here in the presence.
Okay, so what do we? So hold on, I got something
We
else
got
going
some more
on.
here.
Yeah. So one of my comments, one of the things I'm not coming is not coming across for me to, but my wife says, do men feel the pressure from other men about presenting vulnerabilities?
I don't think we feel pressure. I do think that we can acknowledge that there are situations where it must be utilized and addressed appropriately. So if you see a man and his wife and a couple's dinner and he's appropriately showing his vulnerability to the table to his close friends, and then we're just all passing around the conversation, at that time it should be respected that a man could follow that lead and not feel that he would be judged or called out or considered quote unquote soft
All
in
right,
that scenario.
let's take that what she was saying. I like what you're saying,
Mhm.
but let's take it from that location and let's put it into the barbershop location.
Okay.
Now, do you feel how's the pressure of vulnerability in that barbershop location? From we now the thing about it, you just watched that Dallas game getting their ass beat,
Yeah.
you know, and you want to be all open and vulnerable. What they gonna tell you?
I think that's a tricky situation because of the fact that ain't nothing but apes and gorillas and silverbacks going into a barbershop, and until you read the room and find out what type of people or personalities and association you can have with each one, then you can let the vulnerability up. Otherwise, you better keep on guard because they're gonna, first thing we do, oh man, Cowboy is soft, man, your team's soft. We're going to clown without any consideration of vulnerability. So you just have to read the room and make sure that you're ready to face that feedback once you get out there and let that feelings show.
All right, so now I'm gonna tweak it and put you on the spot one more time.
Sure.
Now we in that same barbershop, but we're talking about relationships with the fellas.
Mm-hmm.
Do how often they say no? We need it. How often do they say, man, we need to be a little bit more open to our ladies. They need to know how we truly feel. We need to, we be more vulnerable. How often was that said? Think about from the time you was a wee little grasshopper to you're a full blown adult male. Because I can see the trend. I can remember talking
Yeah.
with a pop and this and say, you know, oh, stop being soft.
Yeah.
They
It
don't,
was.
they don't want no soft ass. No man, no one want no soft ass man. They don't want no vulnerable ass. They ain't use vulnerable back then. They
I
ain't know how to
think.
spell vulnerable. Hell, that's why I can't spell it now.
It has definitely changed over time. So if you think about you going to the barbershop when you was 8, 10, 12, how the aspect of masculinity was portrayed come current to 2024, 2023, when these things are more shared, more talked about, there's social media involved. You can see the transition of how we share and we talk about things. It's a little bit more open now. It's a different generation, which provides the platform for the vulnerability. People are, not as offensive to being called names because you can sit there and have a conversation with a person and ask them, why are you saying such a thing, when we should be opening up to help those understand what is bothering us, and get those skeletons out the closet that we keep sweeping back in. So it has definitely changed, and you may hear it more now than to say 20 years ago, 30 years ago when we was coming up.
Yeah, so I agree. It's changing. I think our biggest obstacle is not being ashamed of it.
Exactly.
There's plenty of men throughout history, strong men, who've been vulnerable to their wives in that bedroom talk, and the ones who wasn't probably had an early grave.
Hmm.
You know, because the men always trusted, well, only trusted that main wife. I ain't gonna say, because sometimes the men had them outside babies and outside families, but the main household, they trusted them.
Hmm.
Um, without that, without that trust and being a vulnerable, it's hard. We can't hold everything. Even though we have friends that we talk to certain things about. All right, for me, this is my thing. This is how I'm made. This is not the example.
Hmm.
I have certain people I talk to certain things about. Not
Yeah.
not everybody knows every little aspect about me. My wife knows the most, and she knows me the best.
Hmm.
But certain things I won't talk to her about. But there's certain things I will only talk to her about. You know,
Yeah.
but my most vulnerable stuff, if I'm going to shed a tear, I'm not going to front. God damn, I ain't going to front. When I shed a tear, it's going to be around her. She sees me when I'm going through something. It could be an emotional flashback. She
Hmm.
could see it. She could feel it.
Yeah.
And it's good to say, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, she still has that. I still maintain my masculinity when it comes to, like they said, the attributes of being a man.
Yes.
You know, and so that allows me to be vulnerable because she respects the masculinity side of me. I don't, like I said, I don't have to beat my chest. You just know I got a chest. And I got two, and
Agreed.
I got two hands.
Yes. We do have some more comments here.
Okay.
Scroll down here. There was a comment. Let me see, from Shamika Arnold that says, "But that could be considered femininity too." I'm not certain if that pertains to what the definition of masculinity was. But then as you go up here, there's a comment from Kia McCanning, the poet, that says, "And does a man have to say he's masculine, or does he embody that?" I think we already
Yeah, we kind of answered that.
discussed
I
that.
think
Yeah.
you like it's like you ain't got to beat your chest,
Yeah.
you know. But like you said, that when you walk in with that confidence,
Yeah. I remember it was a story, right? I was hanging out with some fellas, and I stayed at these apartments, and we was talking about this bar we used to go to as a club, and I was like, man, it was always a long line of waiting in the club, and sometimes I can't get in because it's there's a limit. He was like, man, if you really want to get in, all you have to do is, if you feel like you are important, if you walk and talk like you're important, all you got to do is walk up to the front of the line and look at a person, and they will let you in without even questioning you. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try that, right? So it took me bought or found a nice outfit, build up that confidence. And I walked up to the front of the line, just looked at the guy like I belonged there, and he let me in without a word being spoken. So if you think about masculinity on that aspect, or portraying masculinity, you're not beating your chest, you are walking with a sense of confidence, like you belong here. And therefore, you can fit in and be allowed into doors that other people are wondering why they can't get through because of their
You
confidence.
you're right. It's just like if you want to play. Now we're gonna go back to the Urban Dictionary of soft.
Yeah.
If if you're portraying softness, people are going to see that, and they're gonna pounce on that. Not necessarily your vulnerability that you have
Yes.
with your mate, but the vulnerability of go back to definition of physical or some kind of weakness.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Physical, emotional attack or harm. Yeah.
yeah. So now I think we do have to temper our vulnerability. This is me saying this, like I said, when we use it or when we show it. You know, it's not be we shouldn't be ashamed of it,
Hmm.
which is traditionally how it is. It's shameful to be vulnerable,
Yes.
but that's in public. We was taught by our social circle that we was taught that, and now we listen to these ladies here. They say they want the vulnerability.
Yeah.
It makes them feel safe. You know,
Yes. I wrote some notes here and pertaining to we as men can provide that vulnerability without feeling less masculine because we are in that safe space that was created between man and female or husband and wife, and therefore sharing how we feel about just simple things of how was your day, and then going into detail can give us a sense of confidence that hey, I'm not gonna have someone use what I say about my day against me and make me feel soft because I feel safe, I feel secure, I feel loved. And there's a comment here that I wanted to address. December 69 Angel says, I feel men do care about other men's perceptions more than they say.
that's true.
That is true. That
That
is
is very
definitely
true.
true. Because of the way we try to out masculine or outmaneuver each other, we do care about what a brother says or even thinks about us, and we try hard to even fit in with certain groups. Right? You try to join a book writing club, and and you got to portray a certain image, and then you want to be liked by others, and they giving you a hard time to join because you're not following the same footsteps they are or having the same status quo as them. So you
Correct.
think about how we try to do much to impress other guys
Yeah,
when it's not necessary.
right. I'm gonna give you a scenario. If I quit the football team to go play the flute,
Oh yeah, when you're talented, yeah,
yeah, they gonna rag you,
yeah, you can call yourself and all other kind of names.
and that is actually that is such a hard truth that our other men have so much bearing on our who we are and how we react because oftentimes that outside influence of other men bleeds into your home.
It does
You know, hey man, you better go run your house. You better go, man. Don't let the woman tell you what to do. Like my daddy
influence.
say, he'll say N word. He go hand picked. Like what's hand picked? He'll say hand picked, and he'll say the N word behind it. Like,
Yeah,
he used to talk that say to
those.
one of my best friends. My like shoot, yeah, but he had a happy home, and I'm thinking about all right, pop. I remember I've been knowing you all my life, so I know how this household run.
But you also got to know that a lot of times guys will talk a good game just to put on a front or a fluence in front of their boys and make them think they're doing something. As soon as they get home, they gotta, you know, they gotta say yes, dear at the door. You know what I mean? You can't be doing that and bringing that home. You know, from the streets, man. You gotta leave that out there.
All right,
You know?
you know,
Yeah,
and I ain't gonna lie, there ain't no wrong with talking a little mess here and there in the street, but you better leave it in the street.
exactly. Yeah, don't bring that home.
Uh, Babe said, and when a man is vulnerable, he is showing you that he trusts you, and and you will provide that safe space or that
Exactly.
space. You know,
That's what we want, man. We want to come home to a nice, warm, soft bosom and cuddle up. You know what I mean? And not have to have the weight of the world on our shoulders and having to act hard all the doggone time. You know, sometimes we want to come home and just lay up, man, and be
we'll come
loved
home
on
to that
too,
soft
man.
bosom, buddy.
Yeah, man, just snuggle up with some.
Daddy needs some milk.
Yeah.
Look who's talking.
Oh man.
But yeah, so let's talk. Let's address that about not being able to come home to a place that safe space and how that affects us.
It should affect us in a good way. As a couple, you want to become closer, so you can reflect on how your partner responds when you show your softer side. Right, you're showing a more sensitive nature of topic, and not everything is just not. I had a good day, and where's my dinner? You're actually getting deep into how you're feeling, such as I was bothered by something I saw today and I wanted to intervene, but I didn't interact. How should I respond to the situation? Or something that's bothering you at work when you got a coworker, that they feel like they're overstepping their boundaries and it could rub you the wrong way. So you're getting that information that we used to put in a box and say, I'm not worried about it. You're now sharing it because there could be some information you could receive from your partner that will help you deal with that scenario or those situations better.
Yeah. So I learned. I learned a lot from my wife, and she had the scenario of like a dump truck scenario. I heard her say, you know, everybody's dumping on you, but at some point that dump truck gets full. Where do we dump? You know, and sometimes the weight of the world gets on us,
Mm-hmm.
and we know our partners have a lot on their plate as well, and they gonna share with us and be vulnerable to us.
Mm-hmm.
But if we don't release and have that safe space to release and be vulnerable, like you said, when we put it in the closet, it's gonna rot and stink, and that stench is gonna tear us up, and to where that what's in us is gonna come out of us. It's gonna come out of us,
Mm-hmm.
and and unfortunately, they're going to get the blunt of it. And if they get that blunt,
What
they
blood
may
you
not
talking
be
about?
around. They may not be around anymore.
Yeah. Say, what blood you talking about?
Not that, not the kind, not that kind.
Yeah, okay. I
Yeah,
feel you though, man. That's very important. So if we think about as men, we should just not really we should just become more practical in how we share our emotions with our women, with our loved ones, even with your kids, even with your neighbors. You can't stand your neighbor, but if you're able to show some vulnerability in having a conversation, you may understand why they may be upset with you, or what could be setting them off, and hopefully they will in turn uh, become good neighbors in the long run as you understand each other a little bit better,
yeah. So
screaming at each other.
I was about to bring up a point, but December '69 Angel says it. What I was kind of about to say.
Hmm.
I think it depends on the man he may have been shunned in his past and scared to open up to a new person. So I love that comment because
Yes. Yes.
if a if your partner does not know how to let you be vulnerable or does not understand the importance of vulnerability and how to receive a person's vulnerability, it could be all bad, you know, and because they don't know how to expect let a man be vulnerable, a person be vulnerable, they think it's soft, and guess what?
Hmm.
That triggers a lot of things. Like so now, just say that relationship doesn't work, and I go to my next relationship. I'm like always, I'm unhealed from this bad shit,
Yes.
and I'm going in like I gotta be hard. I gotta be protected because there's something over here says being vulnerable is being a wuss,
You're
and
right.
we have to want our ladies, our partners, to let us be vulnerable and expect it to the point where they know it's not demasculating us or it's not a demasculation of our manhood. It's a part of our masculinity or our human nature.
I
You
have
know,
a I have a one up to what you just said. Not really a one
go
up,
for it.
but I put a pin on what you said. You said in the conversation, understanding of a person's vulnerability. This is what we want from our mate as a guy, as a man. Yes, we want an understanding from our person's vulnerability because we can open up and show our vulnerability emotionally through conversation, right? Through acts of kindness, whatever it may be. But we want a person to understand our vulnerability and why we're doing this. We're doing this out of love. We're doing this out of careness. But if you're having a conversation and you open up, you share with some people or somebody your deepest intimate secrets or thoughts, and all you get is a head nod or, oh, okay. And you're like, wow, I just poured my heart out and that's all I got. And that make a man shut back down too.
Man, tighten it, close it on up.
Yep. Put that thing
Close it
back
up
in a
real
box,
fast.
shoebox, and forget about it, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Kick it in the ocean.
So we want some understanding with that. If
Yeah.
we're going to share our thoughts, not just acknowledgement of yeah, you shared your thoughts. Okay, go mow the yard or something. You know what I mean? No, no. Let's lay in that bosom a little bit longer or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you in that bosom. Yeah, you got a bosom fetish. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So Babe says those men need healing, and we often take the burden of trying to heal them. He has to be in the right headspace to do the work. But there's done that
Been there, done that.
he can operate from past. Yeah, I shouldn't have read that one. I should let you read that one. Reread that shit for me, please, sir.
She said those men need healing, and we often take on the burden of trying to heal them. He has to be in the right headspace to do the work. Been there, done that. Can't operate from the
The
past.
past.
Yeah.
All right. Ooh, yeah, cause we. I like what she said. You know, we have to do our own work. You know, one of the things I do, I try not to take anything that hurt me in the past into my current relationship.
Hmm.
I try, the things that, like, say, for instance, I've been cheated on before. I don't know who would cheat on me, but it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, But I can't take that level of mis- uh, not trusting in somebody into my current relationship. And one of my current relationship superpower is let me rephrase that all the way. One of the superpowers of my marriage is our trust. You can't tell me she did something wrong with some other dude that You can pay me a million and a half dollars to believe that shit, and vice versa. We both had relationships where we've been cheated on or we did some cheating, and you can't tell me that she out there doing anything wrong.
Yes,
So but I had to heal. I had to make sure I was ready to make that mental commitment that she is not that person who did that to me.
agreed. I have some notes here that I made
Go for it.
pertaining to how men can start becoming more vulnerable in relationships while maintaining their sense of masculinity.
Okay.
And one of the things I've discovered through researching this is the concept of balancing things that are in opposition is the struggle. For example, finding balance between planning and spontaneousness, togetherness and alone time, saving versus spending. There shouldn't be a conflict between sensitivity and strength. However, we find ourselves in this that tends to strengthen or strain our masculinity, meaning that we have to make a decision. And sometimes those decisions we make can be interpreted incorrectly. Because if you think about the overcoming conflict between sensitivity and stoicism, which is the endurance and pain of hardship without displaying of feelings and without complaint. So we have to make decisions as men sometimes without emotional attachments. Somebody was drowning over here, somebody was drowning over there. It could be your mom over here, it could be your daughter over here. You have to make a decision without second guessing that because you can only save one in this crazy scenario. But we think about how we grapple with that every day, and we make these choices just because of the fact that they're instilled on us. We're not trying to be over masculine or beat our chest. We just have to make a decision in certain situations, and we want sometimes people to understand why we've made this decision and not be judged on that aspect of the decision being made, because that also can weigh heavy on us.
Yeah. One of one of the things I think I love what you're saying, but it also brings to mind that it's kind of drifting, but we are vulnerable, but our masculinity and we're in our position as men, we often have to make decisions. Our decisions will never be 100% accurate,
Correct.
but you have to follow us in this partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if that's our dynamic. Understand that when we get it wrong, it hurts us probably more than it hurts you. The fact that I was wrong and I possibly led you down a wrong path, or led you to, or made the wrong mistake that could potentially led us not being successful, will hurt us sometimes, if not sometimes, or not most of the time, much as it hurt you, because the leadership role that we assume or take, or that you have given us permission to have, weighs heavy. And when it weighs that heavy and it's wrong, we have to be able to look at you and say, like, I'm sorry. I tried. And it's not, and be vulnerable to understand that we are human, that we made a mistake and we are sorry for it. And don't beat us over the head because we're not gonna be 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
And when we come to you and say, I was we wrong, I was wrong, and I really I had it was nothing, the best intentions. I looked at everything and I was just wrong. I'm sorry. That I'm sorry and being vulnerable and meaning it. If we expect our partner to understand. I know, babe. I know, babe. We'll get past it. Or don't worry. We got it. We'll still move on. It's the fact that we'll be wrong and you beat us over the head with it, that tears us down and causes us to be over masculine because we're putting the guard back up.
Yeah.
We're putting that vulnerability back in our pocket
Yep.
and like, what's going? Don't worry about it. I'll take care. Leave me alone. All right, that's how it's gonna be. We need a high level understanding from our partners. And this is now I done got into a whole new scenario in my head. Like, and I and this is my vulnerable moment. This is me being vulnerable to the world right now. That I know I have a wife who's there for me and understands that. So that level of appreciation, like, okay, yeah, I know you're not gonna be 100% right. Don't worry about it. And understanding that it means so much to a person that we need that security. Like, it's all right to be human and be wrong sometimes.
Yes. The fear of judgment.
Mm,
Man, because if you think about how we've done things all our lives, and without the understanding behind some of those decisions, oh, why did you do that? You effed up. You did this wrong. If you think about your job, right? You do something wrong, they're gonna, oh, you did this wrong. It should have been done like this. It should have been done like that. While you're trying to explain your thought process of how you come to that, there, maybe not even trying to hear it, right? So you shut that down, and you come home, and your wife told you to, girlfriend, friend, whatever it may be, told you to pick up something from the store, but you were not in the right mind and you forgot it. Oh, you forgot to do this. You can't do nothing right. And you just getting drugged through the mud throughout the entire day. And the fear of judgment comes to the point where you're like, you know what? I'm just going to shut this thing down. It could be for a day. It could be for a week. Hopefully it doesn't linger longer, but you think we're just going to shut this thing down and try again tomorrow. Hopefully, I have a better day. And hopefully my partner will understand that I want to be vulnerable in this moment, but the fear of judgment, you know what I mean? Because as
yeah,
you said, we make mistakes, and to be judged on something that is something of simplistic sometimes be the hardest ones, right?
yeah. So that scenario came. 2 points came to my head. The demasculation of a man is the direct opposition of a vulnerability of a man. You are
Say it
not.
again. Say it again, sir.
Yeah. The demasculation of a man is the direct opposition of the vulnerability of a man. I'm not gonna give you my heart and be open to it if you don't take my man try to take my manhood.
Great.
Now the second thing is you and this I'm not condoning this, but I am gonna speak in the reality of what could happen when you do something like that. What I can't get at home, you might get outside your home. So people gotta remember that. I'm not saying it's right, but
But
we're gonna talk a reality.
that's
You
a whole nother
A person
level.
often looks
Yeah.
for what they can't outside the home, what they can't get inside the home. Let's be real about it. If I'm getting towed down at home and that work wife is always building me up,
Oh
she
man,
might get
I don't.
home wife
you,
privileges.
you already talking
Because
about
I'll never do it.
a whole nother
But I'm
conversation.
just saying, a lot of times affairs come from something that's lacking.
Having that masculinity stroke, right? That ego stroke somewhere else.
Yeah, whole stroking going on. Stroking to the east, stroking to
Stroking
the west.
and bosoms and all this bosoms.
Yeah. Get some Clarence Carter going on.
There's a There's a comment here, December 69 Angels. Says, some men just aren't ready for the safety women provide, and sometimes women don't know how to provide that. It's a lot to learn and heal from as a community. She made two good points. Some men aren't ready for the safety of a woman, what they provide, because he doesn't know how to recognize a good woman. And then at the same time, your partner, your lady that you're selecting to be vulnerable with has to be able to provide that. If she's looking like a deer in the headlights when you sit here, pouring your heart out, you may look at her like, man, like Marcus said, you go outside the home because she just not understanding. So there's definitely a lot to learn and heal from as a community, as people, as individuals. So I do like the way that we're bringing this to the forefront,
Yeah,
talking about it. Yes.
yeah. This one's for you, Don.
Which one is that? Oh, laying in the other woman's bosom. It wasn't me. I'm Shaggy. I got a
Even them
twin.
bosoms.
I got a twin. It wasn't me. that must have been
Right,
Ronald or Ron. It
so.
wasn't Don. Anybody but me.
Oh, shit. It's funny, Don. I had all these
Yes.
notes. I ain't look at my damn paper since the first 2 minutes of this damn.
Yeah, we had a lot of notes, but we would make it a 5-hour conversation. So we kind of like just clip note that thing and just roll with how the conversation was flowing, because there was some good points there. And one of the things I'm gonna relate back to is what you said in your notes. Is that what women want? Uh, the vulnerability, which can lead to deeper, more meaningful relationship, but does it create an imbalance of power? Because if you are chosen to lead your household, the man, you take on enormous pressures to lead by example, to be the authority figure, to be the keynote sayer when decisions are made. If you're being vulnerable, will that lead to an imbalance of power? Proverbial, who's wearing the pants in the family? Or do you have enough character where you can um, allow your mate, your partner, your loved one, your wife, your spouse to also make decisions, so therefore you're not carrying the full load?
All
You
right, so
think about
let's
that?
let's break that with those comments down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of it was answered already. A lot of the ladies in the chat was like they want the vulnerability, and it makes them feel you like a more of a man. Make you feel stronger.
Yeah.
Um, it makes them feel like you can lead. So I think the vulnerability is a plus. They would like it. They want it. You know. I don't think you say she come home and be a crybaby.
Well, of course not.
You
You
know.
gotta, yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother level of sensitivity. If that's an
You
issue, right?
know. And another thing we have to address is the conversation that you should have with you and your partner of what's expected of you, what's expected of her. How do we go about this partnership? What are you looking for? What that has to be established.
Mm-hmm.
One of my weaknesses, I do a lot of some assuming. I get I get my head bust on about me assuming too much. But it is what it is, and we keep assuming, and we keep making, and assuming is gonna end up being a guess, and we're gonna
Yeah,
guess wrong.
yeah. You don't want to do that.
Yeah. And what was the last part of your statement, Don?
Sharing those duties that have been thrusted upon us, will that make you feel a balance of power? Vulnerable in pertaining to that.
Man, just like you walk in that damn room, what you would say with that masculinity, I'm gonna walk in my house like that. Ain't no imbalance of power because we established what's my role and what's your role.
Yes.
At early in the relationship, what's expected.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I ain't gotta beat my chest. I'm gonna sure have it stuck out because I'm gonna work with that confidence in my relationship.
Agreed. And just to ensure that from these conversations that we're having, we're not trying to tell a man to be less masculine. We're just showing him ways to enhance his invulnerable state, which I am learning more again as we have these conversations. I am learning more to do throughout life, because when I'm at this age, I was not at. the same with age 20. And throughout life, we learn to take a lot of crap, and then at the same time, we dish a lot of crap out, but then we come to a point where we have to heal. We have to become better versions of ourselves, and we have to be able to relate better to those that are close to us. We cannot continue this strongman approach that we probably was taught back at 18. Or me against the world type attitude. You can't do that.
Yeah, you can't be Donkey Kong these women.
No.
No, and you're right. I mean, the world is changing. The world is evolving.
It has.
How we do things in our relationship is different from 1932. We ain't sharecropping, and this has to be, and this, the world. We have to evolve, and our emotional state have to evolve too.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Now we still gotta be who we are. We have to still be. If you choose the the more masculine role in your relationship, yeah, that's what it is, and that's how it's going to be discussed. But we have to be more flexible. I guess that's the word I should use. We should be flexible.
Yeah.
With the times.
You have to be, because we only have infinite amount of time that we're in this space on this rock we call Earth, and you can't do things a certain way without fear of repercussions or blowback, and then all of a sudden at age 70 you're like, well, I'm gonna decide now to be nice to people, or I'm deciding now to be vulnerable. You wasted a lot of time. So we should open up now and enjoy the benefits of that, of sharing, loving, and caring. Don't wait till you feel like, oh yeah, I've done all I can do now, let me go ahead and be nice to people. It may be too late for that, so let's do it now.
Yeah. You know something, Don? We've been at this for about an hour.
Yes, sir.
So I'm opening it up. We haven't did this in a while. We haven't done the on the spot segment in a while.
Agree. Let's do it, man. Let's get into it.
For those who don't know, on the spot segment is just you can ask Don and I any question about in the realm of the date, Affirm the real. Just throw it out there. We're going to open it. We're going to answer it openly, honestly, and transparently. This is something that's not discussed or rehearsed or researched by us. This is throwing it out to those out there in TV land.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a question, and we're going to address it. And this is what we call on the spot. So I'll give a chance for those Twitter fingers to type in, just put it in the chat, and we'll address one of them. Don, I think this was a conversation that we had to have about this masculinity and vulnerability. Because we went from the soft life era to decentering your partner to decentering can lead to a soft life era.
Mm-hmm.
But in being in the soft life don't mean that we have to be soft in the Urban Dictionary way.
Agreed.
Being vulnerable is not necessarily being soft. I believe us being vulnerable is a sign of strength, a sign of trust, and a sign of character.
Agreed.
Right.
Yes.
I think we might have us a question, Don.
All right.
Let me go ahead and bring it on over. You're going to have to read it, right?
All right, cool. No problem.
Let's
do it. All right. Question is from Kia McLean, the poet. Do men address other men about being vulnerable and sensitive with their women when they make comments that sound harsh or hard masculine? Like, ooh. That's a good one.
Let me read that one. I got to read that one slow.
Let's read it again. Do men address other men about being vulnerable and sensitive with their women when they make comments that sound harsh or hard masculine like? This is a good question, and the reason I'm saying that I'm trying to dive into this first, and hopefully, Kia McLean, I answered the question to my best of ability. We as men have to be careful about this because we have to understand the situation. If we see a woman in distress, yes, we should, as bystanders, should help out. However, if we approach a man when we see he's out of line or being harsh or hard, and we try to confront him without diffusing the situation, it could lead to more drama. It could lead to be a worse scenario. So you have to understand that person could be packing. He could, you know what? Who are you? Pow, pow, pow. He let off, 5 shots. But if we have the opportunity to calm him down, to get him out of the way of public view, because a lot of times he may be oversharing his masculinity because he's in the public. He wants the people to know that he's hard. But if we can get him somewhere where he's less confrontational, therefore he's willing to understand and show his vulnerability, we can probably diffuse the situation and make the situation better. But it's definitely a tricky conversation because I wouldn't go to a cliff and try to diffuse the situation without understanding what's going on. But then if I'm at a mall or something, you look at the environment, hopefully you can diffuse or make comments to a person who may be harsh to their woman and get a resolution to the matter.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the question. I'm interpreting it a little bit different.
Okay, that's good. We should be able to do that.
Yeah. So I'm thinking what she's asking is, let's say we in that barbershop and they talking all that hard masculine shit, and do we correct them, or do we say, hey, or do we just egg on to it? One of the things. So as I look at it, is like, if I'm somewhere and we all talking that hard masculine stuff, and we know it's wrong, that we know that these ladies require something, a degree of vulnerability. Do we
Mm-hmm.
do we step up and say, no, that ain't right? Go ahead, no. There ain't no wrong being vulnerable to your woman, or you know, do we address it, or do we just laugh along jokingly? You know, do we be the difference maker, or the one who's willing to step up and say that's not right, or we just kiki and condone the behavior that we know ain't right? Because now, as I got older, wiser, and we started doing these dark podcasts, I'm more, but not willing. I'm more able to step up. Where years ago I just laughed and joked, ha kiki ha ha, or even like, we just joking, not knowing somebody's taking this stuff too seriously, you know. And so that's why I said I'm willing now to say I'm sensitive enough, or willing enough, or vulnerable enough to say, yeah, I do this in front of my wife. I shed a tear last week in front of her. I don't, she knows how I feel about certain things. But that's the warm bosom she gives me.
There you go. What? Just a follow up to your comments. Will that come with age? Because if you think about you in that barbershop, you have a young 25-year-old man who's not quite as live a fulfilled life to understand, to gain that knowledge that we got 45, 50, 55 years old. So when you speak to him, yes, you're speaking wisdom from your experience, and hopefully what he hears will resonate so that he will continue to grow to be a better person. So is an age thing can cause a difference of understanding in this situation?
Um, I won't say age is wisdom,
Okay.
because wisdom and age is not, don't go hand to hand.
Okay. But 25, he hasn't gained the wisdom, but he's 25, which is his age.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm 50. I gained wisdom through trial, tribulation, fail, success. At 25, there was no way I could have gained knowledge. Even if I went to a barbershop and somebody told me something, I'm like, well, that ain't gonna happen to me. You know what I mean? Right. You still have to gain that experience, I feel.
So I agree that you do have to gain
Yeah.
experience, but experience, how can I put this? More people can get more experience at a certain age by through what they go through in life and
They
how
being
they.
exposed to environments.
So, for instance, you know Dallas on our he
Yeah.
was being on her before. At the age of 26, he has more. Oh damn, babe just wrote it. We on the same page, babe. Days, um, Dallas is 26 years old, and he has the wisdom of somebody 35.
Yeah.
Not it's through his experience, but his mindset and willingness to listen.
Exactly. There we go.
Yeah,
And it's sad thing about it is, not to cut you off, Dallas is an distinguished gentleman. I've met him. He's a great guy. I wish all guys in America, 100 billion of them, could be like that. But we know the society and scenarios and situations don't allow that. We can reach some, we will never reach all. We continue with platforms like this to hopefully that message can spread out and catch out like a wildfire and reach those that need to hear this message. But we know that it's not going to. It's just impossible. It's just, you know, people in China may need to hear this. You're just not going to reach them.
yeah. But matter of fact, for those who don't know Dallas, go out there and follow him on IG,
Great guy.
and
My God, that
you'll
guy
see
is
and
wisdom.
you'll see what we mean.
Wisdom beyond his years. You tell me something. I need to learn something.
Yeah, I learned something from him too. He know more about suits than me. I'm like, hey, man, tell me you above the classic man at 2 years old. Get out of here.
Where's Yeah? There's a comment there, Kia McLean. Uh, you didn't know quite what that was. I'll let you read that.
Oh, you trying to be funny, huh? All
No,
right, so
I didn't quite.
what is what is
You
they
say
what
y'all
is
was
they
thinking
are
alike.
talking about their women negatively to prove a point? Like if her man, I run this shit. So, all right, so
Okay.
what if a dude is talking all that crazy shit about his woman? Do you check him on it, or do you laugh and kiki with him?
You don't laugh. That's one thing you don't do. You don't encourage that. But when you say check a person, that's what I was saying. You have to understand a person. Some people are hot headed, and to even approach them in that frame of their masculinity could cause more problems.
All right, so
So you have to understand. Okay, maybe let me let him cool down for a second, because if he's braggadocious and he's in his moment in his zone, and you step to him, he may take that as an offense. Now you got to fight. Whatever else can happen, right? Sometimes you have to look at that and say, okay, maybe I can catch this brother outside when he's not in front of everybody, and just have a one-on-one conversation, not call him out because he may see that you calling him out when there's 20 other people in the barbershop or in the room.
all right, so I get you. I'm with you. So you know, but at the end of the day, you're going to address him,
Yes, yes.
and that's what we got.
It may not be that day.
And
It could be the next day when things have, you know,
right,
dissipated a
and
little bit.
and that's so you made a valuable point where you're saying well, we shouldn't laugh with it, which I've
Right?
been
No.
guilty of plenty of times in the past. So we have to be able to bring that shit in, and that's to help us grow as men.
Yeah.
You know,
We have to have
we,
that person that's the bigger person in the room to
yeah, and
say, hey, stop that.
oftentimes we do more laughing than we do teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where we falter.
Hmm.
You know, now do so we want the first step make sure we teach our sons these lessons.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah. And she also says, as a woman, I correct other women about respecting their man. She does that. So we should be doing the same thing. Like you said, I understand that we know we can't do it to everybody in public because one thing men are do a lot of men are ego driven, and if you correct them in the high ego state, you ain't doing nothing but wasting time and making problems.
Yeah,
So, all
that's
right,
a good
Don.
question. Thanks, Kia McLean, the poet, for bringing that to the view for others to hear our opinion, because that was very important to share what we feel, our experiences, our knowledge, our 50 plus years of information and wisdom.
All right. So, Don, I think we all came to the end of this episode.
Yes, we have,
This was
sir.
a good one.
Yes, we did. It was great, valuable information shared. And also, we got great insight from our viewers, especially from the women's standpoint. They are just in tune to the conversation as we were, because we get to understand what their expectations are, how they feel about certain questions or scenarios. So it's just not me and you just vibing as gentlemen. We're getting the other side of the conversation too.
Yeah, I think we need to bring on one of our future topics. We need to bring a lady on
Of course.
to balance this masculinity and manly vulnerability out. Um,
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done that. We've had some shows in the past, depending on the conversation or topic, that we've brought women on and get their perspective in regards to that.
yeah. So speaking of ladies, tune in next Tuesday. It's ladies' terms again.
Yep.
Kia McLean, the poet,
Mm-hmm.
Shamika Arnold, the Dar therapist, do their thing.
There you go.
And as always, I need you to subscribe, like on YouTube. We follow us on Instagram. Share this. Get your people. If you like it, let them go look at some of the other stuff that we do. We
Yeah.
post everything on the YouTube
And keep them coming back every other Tuesday and
and
every other
every other Wednesday.
Wednesday. Because we like this. We like when we get the feedback and the conversation is hot that Marcus can't even keep his Twitter fingers up. He just
Man,
cramps.
I got this mouse moving,
He
about to
got the
burn his
one
battery out
fingers
my
going
mouth.
like this. He pop
Yeah,
old school keyboard.
like, like, boy, I'm getting to say about it. But until next Wednesday, Don, what we gonna do?
We out.
We
Peace.
out.